So today we're going to be taking it from this to that. What's up guys, I'm Chris for GQ37 and today I'm going to do a mod to the car that may or may not be that popular with some of you, and that's okay. It's okay to do things different. We're not always going to agree on what we like. Opinions are just that, you know, everybody's got one. So I'm going to be adding the chrome molding around the windows like the second gens have. And I did this on my 2007 FX35 years ago. My wife and I had that vehicle for 5 years and put the stripping on about 2 years in. So it was on there for 3 years while I had the vehicle, and it looked great even when I sold the car. If done wrong, it can look really janky and not so good. But if done right, it can look pretty factory, and at first glance nobody's going to know that it didn't come that way. And that's the goal here. So I think this only looks good on a dark vehicle, like a black car, dark blue, dark red, dark gray, something like that. I wouldn't do it on a silver or white or something like that, just because it's not really gonna be noticeable. But I think it's a nice color pop. I'm not a big fan of a lot of chrome. In fact, I actually deleted the chrome door handles when they painted this. I just had them paint those. And I'm tempted to have them do the chrome stripping at the bottom down there. Maybe have my vinyl guy just put some black vinyl down there. So if I have them do the black strip down there, the chrome will be enough middle barrier between the aluminum colored roof rack and the wheels. I think we'll tie it together nicely without being too much. So anyway, that's why I'm doing this. Again, if it was a lighter color vehicle, I wouldn't do it. I know the whole blackout chrome delete is really popular right now. And if you want an all black, you know, beast of a vehicle, then obviously you would want to do this. And again, to each their own. Chrome delete is a big thing, and some people want to add a little bit. So this is for those. The other reason is that the FX45, some of them actually came with the factory chrome, and actually underneath this is that aluminum color chrome. This is kind of painted over, and you can itch that off, kind of take it away, but there's not going to have any on this piece right here. This is more of a rubbery, plasticky substance here. And so what happens with a lot of the older FX45s, if they came with the chrome or the aluminum color around the windows, some of them you'll see are missing it back here because it's fallen off over the years. And so the other part of this video is if you have that kind of situation, this is a way that you can replace it really cheaply and do it yourself, and just add some chrome stripping on there to make it match up. So for the top portion, I'm using 1 inch to thickness to go over the top windows. The bottom, you can do one of two things. You can do 1/2 inch or you can do 3/4 inch. 1/2 inch covers most of this, and it looks pretty good, but I'm doing 3/4 inch because there's some kind of rough patch areas on my molding down here. The body shop kind of painted over, some of it's starting to flake, and so I'm just going to kind of cover all that up, and the 3/4 inch covers it up nicely. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So in addition to your 1 inch stripping for up top and 3/4 for the bottom, you're going to need alcohol to clean and prep the surface, a Sharpie or some sort of marker, vis-a-vis will also work, to mark your areas you're going to cut. Don't worry about it being permanent marker, it wipes off with alcohol. And of course, a brand new pair of scissors. Not those janky dull scissors out of your kitchen junk drawer. You're going to need some new scissors because we're going to be making some precise, clean cuts. Alright, first thing you want to do is clean the surface area really well. I mentioned that alcohol. Now, I work at the hospital, and so I'm always coming home with a pocket full of alcohol prep wipes, so I'm going to use that. But just put some isopropyl rubbing alcohol on a lint-free cloth and go ahead and wipe down your surface area. Get all the dirt and debris, because anything that sticks 3M or anything like that, you want to make sure that you clean it really well, otherwise it won't stick for the long haul. So all your surface area that you're going to be adhering to, just make sure it's real clean. Alright, and the next step, we're going to go ahead and start sizing it up and making our marks with the Sharpie and our cuts. Alright, so you've got your roll. It's kind of hard and bulky to deal with unless you've got a second person that can hold it in this hand. I'm just going to put it on this arm to kind of do that in the meantime. Now I've got to get the angle right because this is flat and this is not. You know, it's definitely got an angle to it. So the way to do that is I'm just going to lay it up here and match this corner with that corner, and then draw across. But you got to make sure you've got it going the way that it's going to go. So I'm going to have to overhang that a little bit. All right, so we'll get that cut, and then we're going to take a little bit of this off to hold it in place while we measure exactly how much we're going to need. And again, we're using brand new scissors. This stuff's really thick. This 3M backing is what makes it thick, not so much the chrome. So you don't want to be gnawing on this. You want brand new scissors to make a nice clean cut. Starting in the corner, I find works best. Don't worry about, and I'm going to use 2 hands on this because it is thick stuff. So now I've got my cut made. I'm going to make sure it lines up and the angle is good. Nice match. So I'm going to go ahead and peel back just a little bit of this to hold it in place. All right. If you have 2 people, that makes this a lot easier, but I'm showing you that it can be done with 1 person. And there's a little bit of a lip right here, this plastic ledge, I guess, if you will. So you don't want to put it on that, you're going to put it right above that, okay? And then push firmly to hold that in place. And now I'm going to just kind of walk this back and see exactly how much I need so I can cut it off and not be holding this huge roll the rest of the time. Now, this stuff does stretch a little bit as you're doing it, so you're going to have a little bit extra. It's always better to cut a little bit too much than to be too short and waste this whole piece. If that happens, the piece back here, if you do get it too short, the piece back here is shorter and you could use it for that. But let's just try to do it right the first time. Measure twice, cut once. So we're going to be in this general area. Again, I always go a little bit more than what I should need. So, but not a lot. I don't want to waste it. But that way, we're not dealing with this huge roll, and we can just put it up as we go. It makes it a lot faster. 1 cut, and there's that. And now, I'm going to start walking this back. I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this, and using both hands as a guide. The mirror is kind of your guide there, but I've got a finger on top, and I'm putting down firm pressure and just rolling it up, okay? That way it stays in a straight line. You don't want this thing to be all curvy and swerving everywhere. So you peel up a little bit more and just work at a section at a time, using your finger down here as a guide so that, again, both top and bottom to go around the natural curvature of the window frame. Going around this molding, and as you stick, it'll hold it in place. You'll be able to make this curve. All right. If you stick it in the wrong place a little bit, just pull it. That's why we're only pulling a little bit of this tape at a time. You don't want to stick it all down until you're ready. So we'll pull up a little bit more. Again, we're making this curve. Finger top and bottom, using my thumb, kind of to make sure it doesn't droop too low. All right. And you can already see I'm going to have some overhang here, but that's okay. Better than it being too short, I guarantee you that. So go into the edge here, but I'm not going to go all the way to the end because I'm going to have to cut it off and I need to make my mark. So again, getting my Sharpie out. And there's also a lip right here. Just like there was at the bottom of there's like a 1-2 millimeter little lip here. And so you want to make sure that you're careful of that. You don't want it to go on top of that lip. So I'm going to cut just on the other side of it. Again, the angle of that door. And don't worry about any excess marks. I'm using a Sharpie, but it wipes off with alcohol. When I'm done, I'll show you that. It cleans up just fine, so no worries there. But I'm going to go ahead and make this cut. All right. So we're stretching it, we're pulling it tight, pushing down, and it lines up perfectly right there. Now I'm just going to put firm pressure and go over it with a microfiber. Firm pressure all the way down. Here's that lip I was telling you about. That's what you want to be just on the other side of it. There's another one here, and we'll start on this side. All right. Here's the lip that we started with, just on top of that. All right, moving on. All right, now we're gonna do this piece. And this piece is a little bit shorter. That started with that one. That's the driver's side is the longest part and kind of the hardest part, aside from this corner over here, which you'll see in a minute. But the nice thing about it, if you do your cut right, then from here to there, the angle is the same. So you already start with the correct angle, and you can go ahead and peel that side to go ahead and get it to stick. So just matching it up with that little lip there to hold that in place. And there will be some gap. There has to be some gap because the doors have to open, but it's not a huge amount. And now again, the same thing, we're just walking this along to see how much I need so I can make a little bit of a cut and go from there. That way I'm not holding, and this thing isn't pulling on us, so twisting it. So this short, I can go ahead and kind of eyeball it and make a little bit of a cut here. I'm going to leave a little bit more than I need just to have some room to play. All right. And now we will go ahead and start peeling the backing. And again, 2-finger method, thumb on the bottom as a guide, your index finger on the top. Firm pressure, just using this thumb underneath the window there again so that it doesn't go all crooked and start looking weird. So it was trying to do that, so I backed it back just a little bit. Alright, moving it down, keeping it moving. All right, now you see we got this overhang. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my line on where it is. And there is a little bit of a lip right here. So you got to be careful when you cover it up. There's a lip there, and I got to make sure I come just on the other side of it. If not, it's going to sit on top of that lip and it's going to look weird. It's not going to match up. This is where the most gap is because of this weather stripping. But if you go longer than that, it's not going to have anything to stick to. All right, so you kind of have to cut it right there. And that's just the way it is. And that's the way it was on the FX45, the factory trim. That's just the way of the design of that weather stripping there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right there. All right. Wiping it down with a microfiber, again putting firm pressure on there. And that lined up pretty good. So now we'll work on this back end over here. The angle, so the angle already matches. This is the other end of that piece. So go ahead and tack that down right there. You just got to make sure it doesn't overhang onto this weather stripping. If it does, the door is going to hit it when it opens. So you got to make sure that you're flush with this, just the end of the plastic trim there. You can't overhang. As much as you'd like to close that gap, you can't do it. All right. I already peeled my backing off, so I'm just going to go ahead and walk it down. Again, using my fingers as a guide. Now when we get down here to the bottom, that's where it gets tricky with this corner. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go here, and then we've got to do the rounded edge down here. And then you're going to have to kind of draw that freehand, just looking at the corner. We can't do this, this 45-degree angle here. The chrome's not going to make that. It will bend, it will not stick, there'll be too much tension on it. So you have to do two separate pieces. It's a lot cleaner if it's one. The factory can do that. I can't do that with this. So looking at the angle of the window here, we've got to draw that on here. Measuring it up to it, and seeing where this comes down. Got to make that curve. Drawing the curve is not the difficult part. Cutting it is. All right, so that's the curve. That's what it looks like. All right. So I just drew that on there. That's what we're doing, drawing that shape, mimicking that curve of the windowsill. Now we've got to cut that out. And that's the hard part. Getting it to cut without having to gnaw on it. That's the importance of brand new scissors. Even with brand new scissors, it's extremely difficult. So I'm going to come from this way and making that turn all in one cut. Because if you have to start doing this number, it's going to look all jagged. You don't want that. All right, following the curve with our fingers, and that lined up perfectly. All right, now bring that firm pressure down, and now the bottom is a lot easier. It's a straight line. Okay, so far that's what we've got. All right, now we'll start with the bottom, work our way down. We started from the bottom, now we're here, except we started from the top. All right, sorry, cheesy jokes aside, the bottom is easier. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start in the corner by the mirror. I've got a crazy angle here because I already did the other side of the car. So this is a scrap piece, so I don't have to cut the big roll, but I do have to cut some of it. And so it's pretty much a straight angle. The nice thing about the mirror is it's in that corner tucked away and nobody's really going to see it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to cut it at a pretty straight up and down angle, like so. And we'll tuck it in like that, and it's going to go straight across. All right. Again, two-finger method, but you can rest the bottom on the door. I'm just making sure it stays there. You're kind of resting it on the door sill. This is the 3/4 inch molding, so it's going to cover up a lot more than the 1/2 inch would. All right, and I see that we've got to the end there. So I'm going to go ahead and make my mark. There's a little lip on this as well, so I want to make sure I don't go beyond that. So making my mark, and I'm going to cut. And lined right up. Now we just have one piece left, and be ready to roll. So I went ahead and cut my piece. It's going to look kind of like that. All right. Getting the angle here, we'll adjust that when we get there. So again, starting right here on this little edge, this little lip, making sure the angle's right. And then here we are at the finish line. We want to make sure that this little angle right here matches up just right. So you see where we are. We'll see. I've still got just a tad too much. It is it fits at the bottom. The top is hitting that just a little bit. It's hardly noticeable, but when I pull it tight, it's gonna rub. So I gotta snug off just a little bit more. There we go. Just like goat lips, as my grandpa used to say. I have no idea what that means, but whenever something fit just right, that's what he would say. I miss him terribly. All right. Pull this down just a little bit. to match up. Now, again, firm pressure. Excellent. Now I'm just going to take an alcohol wipe and get rid of any of the marker spots. So like that, makes it all go away. Even though it was Sharpie, it takes it off. So I got a little bit of a cut line here from the Sharpie. So that'll take it off. Same thing down here. I'm just getting rid of the Sharpie with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Takes it right off. Like it never happened. Alright guys, there's the finished product. So again, blacked out handles and just the chrome around the windows. I think it adds a nice pop, especially now that the front windows are tinted. I, again, could do away with the chrome at the bottom and just do a black strip with some vinyl down there. But I think with the wheels, the roof rack, and the little bit of chrome on the back with this is nice. I did the FX35 badge delete, but I think it looks good. This is just my opinion on a black car. I like the chrome around the windows. If it was red or something like that, I wouldn't have done it. And if I had a second gen with the chrome and I had pretty much any color other than black, I would probably do a chrome delete personally myself, like if I had a red one or a white one or something like that. But on the black, I think it really pops nicely. Again, just close up. Again, you're going to have these gaps. The biggest gap is going to be here, though, because of the way this door opens, and that's just the way it has to be. There's the joint at the bottom, how that matched up, and so I think it looks pretty complete. I mean, from the way this SUV was when I got it, you guys saw when I brought it home, hurricane battered and just beat up. And so we've blacked out the grille, done the headlights, repainted the wheels, repainted the whole vehicle, did the interior. So it's come a long way. Got the dash mat covering up that stickiness. So it's looking a lot better than when it came. It looks a lot more complete. I'm good with it. I am not ashamed to drive this anymore compared to the duct tape mirror scenario that I had going on when I got this thing. And there's our culprit. Beautiful sunset too, by the way. Alright guys, well thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful for any of you that wanted to do this, or if you just enjoy people doing stuff to their car and you're watching it for kicks and giggles. Hopefully this was amusing to you. So thanks again for watching guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.